3 home decor DIYs using scrap fabrics. Today's first project, we're going to do a hand-tied shaggy rag rug using cut-offs from a t-shirt quilt that I made and landscaping burlap. And we're going to use this burlap as our template to tie to. As you can see here, I'm removing one strand of the jute twine. And what that does is it allows you to cut your burlap fabric without it raveling and fraying. And as you see here, when you pull that strand out, it creates a column and you can just cut right down there. Now the next thing we're going to do is we have to build our template. So right across the top and bottom of the landscaping burlap, it's kind of braided. And that just keeps it from running and finishes off the edge. So you may need to take a pair of scissors and count about 6, 7, even 8 strands over and pull your strand. See there, you can begin seeing the spaces in between. And these are really, really important. So we're building our template, go all the way across. Once you've cut out the length of rug that you wish to make, or to see that grid take place. So to keep our sides from raveling, let's take a 1-inch strip here and just lay it under the edge of those strands that are hanging off. Using your hot glue gun or any glue. Hot glue works faster. Just put you a bead, drizzle it down through there, and then just fold that piece over the top. And that will ensure the raw edges are closed off so that when you're tying and pulling and stressing the strands, they won't break apart or the rug won't unravel and come to pieces on you. As you can see here, I go all the way around this entire piece. So this rug is really going to give me about a 2 by 2 rug, if not a little bigger, because as you tighten them, they'll start tightening up. So take your strands, you're going to lay out your pieces. You don't have to be particular, but I'm showing you here. They are 1 inch wide and a minimum of 5 inches long. I did some of mine 1 by 7, 8 inches long. Depending on how shaggy and how full and voluptuous you want your rag rug to be. But 5 inches long is the shortest. 7 or 8 is even better. Now when you get them all cut, and I do mine in stacks, just give them a little tug. It makes them a little bit tubular, and you'll understand why. So here we have our 4 colors that I worked with. And you can see some of them are cut 5 inches long, some of them a little longer. Now they have this tweezer set at the Dollar Tree. You can pick these up anywhere, or you ladies go in there and get your tweezers. This is what you want to do. I start in the very center of my area, and I am using the tweezers to start out. Once you get it going, it's not going to be necessary. Now as you see here, I weave through 2 of the squares, and I use the tweezers to pull the fabric through, and I tied 2 together. Now you can do them in 2s if you like. They'll make it a little more fuller in the center, and it does make it, more full looking, but it's really not necessary. And as you can see, you want to go into the same hole of the previous tie and the one next to it. Pull your strand through, and then just a single tie. Don't tie it in a knot, just one single tie. Now, as you can see, I originally started out, I'm placing 2 strands through there. So go into the hole you just tied in, and then one next to it. Pull your strand through and tie it. As you see, I have now doing 2 in there, but tying them separately, and I abandon that and go to just putting 1 tube into each square and tying it. The main thing in tying a rag rug is the tube of fabric must accompany the previous hole. So in other words, you're going to pull the strand through the hole you just tied in and into the next one. And that's where it's going to gather the string. And if you look very closely at the video, just pause it, pull it up to you to where you can see really good. You can see I'm weaving under and beside up through the previous hole. I'm using the tweezers now just to hold the strands of threads up so that I can get my fabric in there with my fingers, pull it through, and tie it. For those of you with arthritis, the tweezers are really handy. If you have a long set, that's great. A short set works just fine, or these crafter ones. And as you can see, I'm using it now just to hold the strands, place my fabric in there, pull it through, and tie it. And this happens pretty fast. I used a lot of the fabric ties. I honestly don't know how many. And I showed you this part of the video. As you can see, I'm working from the center out. And then it just separates itself, and you can literally just feed those through there and tie them. That's the back, and here's the top. It gets really, really full. I used 4 to 5 different colors, and you can make them beautiful. And here she is. She is gorgeous and full. Cotton rag tie rug for your bathroom. Super soft, super absorbent, great for area rug, and they are highly durable. So our second project is we are repurposing and reusing the sleeves from office shirts to make a throw. This is excellent for those of you who tailgate, going to a sports event, sitting on the back of a pickup like we do out here in the South, family reunion, or going camping. And what I did is I took the sleeves, and when I cut them off, they are kind of jagged. So all we want to do now is we want to kind of clean it up a little bit and find our center point. Because we're trying to preserve the FedEx slogan on these pieces, you can see right here, not every sleeve is equal to another. See, the sleeves are not equal, and that is simply okay. It adds to the character, and you're absolutely going to love project number 2, making a throw, reusing and repurposing sleeves of shirts and the cutoffs from the uniform shirts, as well as repurposing and reusing a fleece throw that was doomed for giveaway. So right now I'm folding this sleeve in half, and I'm just showing you that what the main focus here is to make sure they're equal in length and width. And as you can see, they have an angle on the upper side where they were previously a sleeve. But you want to make sure you cut off all of the stitching edges and make them a clean raw piece. So now we need to square this up. We just need to make it a rectangle. And it's very basic. Lay your ruler there, cut off the extra, discard it out of your way, and make sure that it is equal in width, because the length, you need every bit of that length. And just clean up your sides and edges as much as you can. They don't have to be to a science. Don't stress yourself about it. Just clean it up. And I'm cutting off all the raggy. Now I'm showing you here how long or how wide this strip is. And this will actually be a sashing strip. And I'm going to show you how we're going to square up those odd angled sleeves. So here's the length of it. It's already cleaned up all the raw edges, squared them up and made them look real nice. And this is how you fix those hard angled sleeves. Lay your longer piece that's the same width out. Place the sleeve with the angle onto it. Allow about a ½ inch. Take a piece of chalk and trace out that odd angle sleeve onto your extra fabric that you've already cleaned up. This is the salvage edge fabric that we squared up before that came off the bottom of the shirt. This is the sleeve, and we need to square up this piece in order to be able to sew it together. So by tracing it with a chalk, you're putting that angle on the piece. And there we have it marked. Take your scissors and cut that section out. Once you've cut that out, remove it out of your way and simply take your sleeve and we're going to pin those two together. Take them to the machine and sew them. That way we have a full piece. So when you go to pin these together, put your right sides together, and the main thing is right there at the point. Pin that, go ahead and pin down the other side, sew them, and voila. We have our finished square. So this is one piece, and you'll do all the others the same way until you get it as wide as you want it and as long as you like. So I am taking this $5 stocking stuffer fleece throw that the kids get in bundles, and then they want 11 of them, and I end up having to give half of them away. So instead of letting this one go, I decided it would be a great addition to use as the backing for our throw. Now, I need to find the center, and this roller is a seam roller, and I received this in my sampler box for quilting, and I love it. It presses it down. I can save my fingers and hands and the iron. Now I'm finding the center of this sleeve. Once again, using my seam roller. I will have a link in the description box below for the ruler and the seam roller that we're using in this project. Now, I'm doing this to demonstrate to you how you're basically going to map it out. And the idea here is the fleece throw that we are repurposing, the $5 fleece throw for the back, is 46 by 64. So here, I've got all my pieces laid out. They are 46 inches long, and it's 64 inches wide. Now, I'll place those two seams together, the upper part the same way. These were 3 sections. And once these are sewn down, I can then take the fleece throw and place it. So here is the fleece throw, and I have attached it. And I basically used stitch in a ditch and just stitched it to the fleece throw. Now I want to cut off the excess. Back to the cutting board, we need to make our binding strips. So once again, save these salvages that we're cutting off, because the next project, we're going to make another rag rug. So here we are. I decided to do these about 2 to 2.5 inch wide strips for my binding. And because the fleece throw already serves as a great backing without having to use any additional cotton binding, without using any additional cotton batting. Take the excess, place it aside. We'll use it for our next project. And just, there's a good pile going. So now you will attach these together, sew them around the edge, and voila, here is your throw. Here's the back of it. And she loved it. Repurpose, reuse, sleeves, don't throw them away. Now this is the Bohemian Hobo rag rug that we are going to crochet, and it looks very Jamaican. I looked these up and they still sell for around $68. This rug is 2 feet by 3 feet in size. Now guys, believe it or not, these are my old pajamas. They were worn out. They're kind of stretchy and loose and very comfortable, and they make excellent rag rugs. And there's my big ball. So this is what we need to do first. In order to get all of these attached to each other, we're going to put a slit in one edge and a slit in the other. Place those 2 holes over top of one another. Find the tail. Run the tail in through the back, through both the holes, and then pull it. Snug it up, and that is it. Voila! We have just now added on additional strips that are going to be easy to flow through. I wrap these up in a ball, but in all honesty, guys, it does better not to even ball them up. Leave them loose and piled. Now, I am cutting these roughly around 1 inch, maybe 3/4 of an inch, and just splitting the seam and cutting those strips. The longer the better, because then you can just sit there and add them on to each other. Just make sure you remember to put a tiny little slit in the end of each piece. Get one of your big crochet hooks. I am using the very, very large one here, which I think is probably a I or O or something like that. And I just took the salvages and tied my strips together so I'd have various piles. So make you a slip loop, and I use my pinky. And if you use this technique, your strip or yarn or anything you crochet will just slide through your fingers. So now we're going to chain, and make the chain the very length you want your rug to be. That's all you have to remember. That's how many chains you make. When you get the chain made to the length you want, then you stop. Now you put an extra chain loop in. We are going to do single crochet. Bring up that loop, pull, bring up another loop and pull it through both. Go into the next hole, bring up a loop, and crochet through both. I apologize, guys. This is a half crochet. Not a single crochet, a half crochet. And you'll continue that all the way across. When you get to the other side, make sure you add that extra chain. Go back into the previous hole. Draw up a loop. See here, we put an extra chain. Turn it. Go back into the previous hole. Pull up a loop and draw it through. And continue that all the way until you get your rag rug made. Now you can add tie strands to the side of yours. I made sure that I crocheted mine and washed it before I added any ties to the excess side. Thank you all so much for joining me on these 3 projects. Do make your bohemian Jamaican looking rag rug. And until the next DIY, well, I'll be crafting y'all. Bye.